This is your 45-minute Vinyasa Flow Yoga class brought to you by the Exercise Lounge in Banbury. So we start today in butterfly pose. I've got the soles of my feet together. As much as feels comfortable, allow your knees to relax. It depends on how the hips are feeling though. So you can either maybe hold onto your ankles to give your legs a little bit of support. Perhaps you make a hammock with your fingers and you cradle your feet in your hands, or if necessary, you can just support your knees until such point that they relax and they fall down gently at your sides. We're going to take this time just to come into your breathing, bring your attention onto your mat and into your body. Close your eyes if that feels comfortable, or if you prefer, you can just lower your gaze, maybe you dip the chin ever so slightly. We're just going to take a moment to gather our thoughts, leave whatever distractions you've had for the day so far off your mat, and enjoy these 45 minutes to yourself. Remember that you can take breaks whenever you need to, whether it's a pause to take a drink, catch your breath, stretch out, have a little rest, and you can come back to the practice whenever you wish. I have some breaks factored in anyway, but if you need more than what I've allowed, please feel free to take them. Listen to your body and take any adjustments for poses that you need to as well. There'll be a few options as we move through transitions and poses. So tweak as you see fit, listen to your body and move in a way that feels good. So as we sit here in butterfly pose, let's think about sitting as tall as we can. The pose becomes quite active. Draw your shoulders back, feel your shoulder blades press onto your back. Maybe the chest is lifting through your arms, allowing the knees to fall wide. And you can either do this by relaxing the hips or using the muscles in the side of the thighs and the hips to draw your knees down so it's a little bit stronger and a bit more active. You might then feel a little stretch through the groin, through the inner thighs. And then same thing, either sitting up tall and allowing the shoulders to relax, or actively pulling the chest forward and drawing the shoulders down onto your back. So depends how energetic you want to start. We'll take a big breath in, lifting the chest, and a big breath out. And then we're going to settle into a natural rhythmical breath in and out through your nose. So that helps to stay calm, help you stay calm, stay focused, and gives you something to bring your attention to. We have an initial mobilization, warming up specifically the spine, and then we're going to move into the main section of the flow, which is going to get you nice and warm, and then we'll slow things down at the end with a little relaxation. All right. We're going to start with a couple of rounds of seated cat and cow, and I'm going to turn sideways on. You can stay where you are. It's a little bit easier if you hold your ankles for this one. We're going to take a lift through the chest, draw the collarbone forward, tuck the elbows into your body, and add a breath in. And on your breath out, you're going to round your back, slouching if you will. Slouch deliberately. Send your back behind you, looking towards your feet as your chin lowers. Let's go again. Take a breath in, sit tall, bring your chest forward so your shoulders are drawing back, breathing in. And slouching back behind you, feeling a stretch through the back of the body, still holding on to your ankles so that you don't topple completely over. Rising back up again, we're going to let the head drop slowly towards the left-hand side. Then forward as you look down, feel the back of the neck stretch. Take it over towards the right. And gently, gently lift your chin up, let the head fall back. And then we're going to come upright. Take your hands behind you now, fingertips pointing away so the heel of the hand is close to your hips. A little bit like our seated cat and cow, but more deliberate. Lifting the chest, really squeezing the shoulder blades together. You might be able to extend your chin a little further. Perhaps you even hover your hips up off the ground, pushing into your hands. Big breath in, fill up, and then sit back down and walk forwards. And you can allow the back to round now. Maybe you press your arms in towards your legs, looking down towards the ground, extending the back of the neck. Feeling a stretch again, inner thighs, but perhaps a little bit around the lower back and hips too. One more time, walk the hands behind you, lift the chin, lift the chest, straight arms, squeeze your shoulder blades together. Perhaps you hover your hips up off the floor to widen the knees even further. And breathe out, round the back, walk your hands forward, maybe you press your arms in towards your legs. There we go, getting nice stretch through the upper body. Awesome. Roll yourself up. We're going to take your legs underneath you and into tabletop position. So spread the weight evenly through your hands. The hands are underneath the shoulders and then your knees are underneath your hips, and we're going to zip up, draw the belly button in so the lower back is flat. We'll start by rocking forwards and backwards, shifting your weight across your wrist. Take it as far forward as feels comfortable, and then you can probably send your hips all the way back, almost into a child's pose. Let's take a couple more, forwards and backwards, warming up the wrist a little bit. And then pause where the shoulders are over the wrists, and we'll rock side to side. Now the hips are going to want to move with the shoulders, and that's okay. Just make the movement big enough so that you don't topple over. Stay balanced. Let your wrist dictate how big this movement becomes. And then we're going to pause again in the middle. Send the hips back. And while we come forward, I want you to think of rippling up. So tuck the chin to the chest. Allow the arms to lengthen. Scoop your tailbone underneath you. Draw your belly button in. Come as far forward as you comfortably can. And then we're going to scoop down. Bend the elbows. Lift the tailbone. Chest brushes the ground. And then up and over the top again. So round the back, looking towards your knees, maybe even towards the thighs. Coming forward. Arch the back. Lower the chest. Lift the hips up. One more time. Lift up and over. Feel the back. Stretch. And then scoop it down low, front of the body stretches, and we're back into tabletop. This time as we shift to the right, we're going to lift up and over, taking the weight to the left, then scoop it underneath, come back to the right. So it's a barrel roll. Up and over, right to left, and then underneath, left to right. One more time in this direction. Up and over, right to left, scooping under, left to right. And then take it the opposite way, coming under, right to left, up and over, left to right. You'll start to feel as the back moves, the abdominal muscles fire up, specifically this up and over where you tuck your tailbone. You're drawing the front of the ribs to the front of the hips. One more time, up and over, and then we're back in our tabletop. If you need to sit back for a moment, give the wrists a little shake. You can wriggle them out, have a quick sip of water. Flick them off if you need to, and then we'll come back to our tabletop again. Spreading your weight evenly through all fours. Zip up with the belly button, draw it in and up. Tuck your toes underneath you so you're on the balls of your feet. Then as you push the ground away, hover the knees just an inch or two. Imagine the back is firm and flat. You're lifting your chest up away from the ground, and then gently let the knees come down. Sink back, shake off the wrists if you need to. We're going to come up a little higher. Back into tabletop, hover the knees, a touch higher as you bring your hips in line with your shoulders, or even a little higher. Extend the back of the neck, looking down just ahead of your fingers. Push the ground away, and gently release the knees down. Shake off the wrists if you need to. We've got one more round. Back to your tabletop. Hover the knees up, push the ground away, lift the hips up, legs start to straighten, up some more. And once the legs are fully straight, drop your heels down, and then you can either walk your hands forward or walk your feet back. You should find yourself in downward facing dog. We're going to drop one heel as we lift the opposite leg. The heel that you've dropped, the leg is straight, you'll get a little stretch, and then swap it around. Drop the opposite heel, feel the stretch through the back of the leg, lifting the other one. And again, swap. One heel down, one heel up, feel the stretch. Swap it once more, one heel down, one heel up, feel the stretch. And then pause, feet hip distance apart, both heels lowering. It's okay if they don't touch the mat. Hips are high, drop the heels down, relax the elbows, relax the head. Spread your fingertips and dig into the pads of the fingers. Let's take a breath in, lifting up. And with the breath out, drop the heels. Next time you breathe in, lift your right leg, extending it up behind you. Inhale, right leg lifts. And then we're going to bring the knee to your chest, under your body, as your shoulders come in line with your wrists. So squeeze here, lift the hips up high. Breathe in, kick the leg back. And again, knee to chest. Lift the shoulders up high, squeeze the leg in towards you, use your abdominals. One more time, breathe in, extend. And as you bring the knee to the chest, this time lift up high. Look between your thumbs and take a big step through, or lots of little steps. Here we go. Let the hips come forward and down as your right knee lines up with your ankle. Roll the shoulders back and look ahead of you. Flatten your back and then drop your back knee. Release your back toes. Breathe in and lift your fingertips up. So while we're taking a breath and the fingertips rise high, relax the shoulders. Still think about the hips coming forward and down. Should feel a nice stretch through the left hip flexor here. Then gently bring your hands back down to the mat. Straighten your right leg. Send the hips back. And we'll find ourselves in a half split hamstring stretch on the right. If the hamstrings are super tight, you'll be a bit more comfortable coming up higher. If the hamstring allows, bend at the hips, send your head forward and lower your body towards your thigh. Good, well done. Breathe into any areas that you might feel tension. Walk your hands forward as your right knee bends again, but take your right hand on the inside of the foot. Send the foot out towards the right, walk it out, and then you can either let the knee drift away or gently press on the knee if you like. So we've opened out the hips a little bit more, and you may notice you can come a little lower, maybe. If not, that's okay. If it's comfortable to, lower your forearms. Still think hips forward and down, the body is long. So as much space from the crown of your head all the way down to your left toes. Keep the left leg active. Take a breath, and then walk your hands up. You can bring your right foot a little closer. It doesn't need to come on the inside of the hand if you don't want. Tuck the back toes and lift. So you've got the hips a little higher. We'll then step back into a plank, and then the hips come up, the heels drop back, and we're in downward facing dog again. Awesome. Take another little walk. Lift one heel, drop the opposite one and swap. One more each side. Feel the back of the legs stretching out. And then pause, let the head hang heavy, give it a little shake, look towards your toes. See if it's comfortable to lower your chest as you send your fingertips ahead of you. Taking another breath in, we'll rise up and then drop back. And on your next breath, it's the left leg that lifts. So inhale, left leg rises, send it up behind you. On your breath out, your knee comes to your nose, ripple forwards to plank, shoulders in line with your wrists, squeeze the leg up tight to your body. Good. Breathe in, kick away. Breathe out, knee to nose. Lift up a little higher, use your abdominal muscles. One more time, kick away. And then as you bring your knee to your nose for the last time, lift up high with the hips, look between your thumbs, and take a step through with the left leg. So the hips come low, the left knee starts to line up with the ankle, lengthen your body, send it forward, roll the shoulders back, and then release your right knee down, your right toe down. And when you've got your balance, we'll breathe in and lift, send the fingertips up. Looking straight ahead of you again, hips forward and low. So we feel this opening on the right hip flexor this time. Breathing out, the hands come down. We'll straighten our left leg and shift the hips back into your half split hamstring stretch. So if the left feels a little bit different to the right, that's okay. Adjust your position, come up if you need to, come low if you can. Remember, long line, hips all the way to the crown of the head. Breathe into where you might be feeling any tension. That's it, good. And then we'll walk our hands forward, rebend the left knee, send the left foot wide, walk it to the outside edge of your mat. Let the knee shift open if that feels good. Still looking forward, maybe you lean forward, gently, gently, if comfortable, coming onto your elbows. Still think hips, forward and down, lengthening the back of the body from the crown of the head all the way down to your right toes. Don't forget to breathe. And then walk your hands up. Bring your left foot a little closer so that you feel balanced. Tuck your right toes, power up your back leg. Step back for plank. Lift the hips up. Drop the heels down, and we'll take a little pause here. So if you need a rest, a sip of water, shake off the wrists, adjust any clothing, you can do all of that, or you can hold your downward facing dog if you prefer. We're now going to move on to the main section of our flow. So that's going to see us stringing together a sequence of poses on the right side and then repeating on the left. Then we'll add a little bit more to the right side before we repeat on the left. And one more round, add a bit more, repeat on the left. So if you're not already warm, you certainly will be by the time the flow is done. When you're ready, we'll make our way back to a downward facing dog if you're not already there. High hips, low heels, hands ahead of you. Give the head a little shake, let it hang loose between your arms as you look towards your toes. The next time you breathe in, we'll lift the right leg up and back towards the ceiling. Foot reaches up high, hamstring stretch on your left side. Before you bring your knee to your nose, just once, breathe out, tuck the leg underneath you, and take a step forward and through. There we go. So the foot lands on the inside of your hands, but towards the right hand side, so that it allows you to balance a little easier. Once your hips have lowered, we'll breathe in and reach the fingertips up towards the sky. This is high lunge. And we're looking for the hands to be above the shoulders to be above the hips, and you're bringing your hips square to the front edge of your mat. As you then let your left heel lower towards the mat, right knee presses wide, turn sideways on, shoulders over the hips and the arms along. This is warrior two. Good. Relax your shoulders, send your fingertips wide, squeeze the belly button in, feel that little pressing out of the right knee. And if you're feeling strong, come deeper into the knee bend. If you need to be a bit softer, lift out of it. So find your depth, one that feels good for your body. Perfect, well done. We're going to take a reach forward with the right hand. Reach, 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 almost to the point where your body touches your thigh before it comes down towards the ground. Left hand up and over. Pivot on your back toes so that your hips and shoulders are square before you step back into plank. Good. Let the knees come down. Relax your toes and then tuck your elbows, but look forward, breathe out and lower. So we're using the strength of the arms to come down to your mat. Once you're here with flat palms, breathe in. You can keep the arms bent. This is baby cobra, or straighter arms for cobra pose. So this is a deeper back bend, but more stretch for the front of the body. But you find what feels good, down here or up here. The chest is forward, the elbows are tucked. Then we'll breathe out to lower, curling down towards the mat. Tuck your toes, let your knees bend as your arms straighten. And then your hips lift, legs straighten, drop the heels back down. Taking a pause as you feel the back of the legs stretch, feeling the shoulders widen, chest stretches. And on your next breath in, we'll lift the left leg. Inhale, left leg rises, reaching the foot up towards the ceiling, hamstring stretch on the right. One round, knee to nose, breathing out, ripple forward through plank, lift the body high, and then take a step through. So again, while your foot lands between your hands, take it towards the left side, let the hips lower, find your balance, breathe in and rise. Fingertips lift, shoulders face the front, hips face the front, being as generous with your front knee bend as you need to, thumbs above shoulders, shoulders above the hips. And I'm going to turn my back to you for a moment. You're going to let your right heel come down. Turn your shoulders and your hips to the right. Long arms, pressing out on the left knee. Use these glutes to take that knee wide. Still shoulders, hips in line. And then send your fingertips wide. We're going to reach forward with the left. Keep reaching, keep reaching, keep reaching. Almost until the point that the body touches the thigh. And then the hand comes down. Right hand up and over. Square your hips and shoulders. Pivot on your back toe. And step back for plank. Perfect. Knees down, toes down. Bend the elbows, let them brush your body as you breathe out, landing lightly. And inhale, lift. You can zip the inner thighs close together, squeezing ankles and knees, or if you prefer, take a little parting through the legs. You may find you're able to lift a little higher with that option. Both are good, just as long as the legs are engaged. Breathe out, slowly curl back down. Tuck the toes, let the knees bend as you lift away from the ground. And then the hips come up, the heels drop back, and we're in downward facing dog. So here again is a great chance for a sip of water if you need a little break. Shake off your wrists, adjust any clothing, catch your breath, or stay in downward facing dog if you prefer. It's entirely your choice, you have time. If you're staying here, spread your fingers wide, press into the palms of the fingers, perhaps you lift your knuckles as you allow your head, neck and shoulders to relax. If you took a little breather, make your way back to downward facing dog, and then we'll start the second round of our flow, adding a little bit on, but you'll see some of the poses repeated, so you'll have familiarity. When you're ready, it's going to be the right leg again, lifting up, kick it behind you, hold it up just a moment longer, take a little bend in your right knee, Squeezing your right hip down, inner thighs together, and then see if you can lift the right toes a fraction higher. Now it's going to feel like a deeper stretch in your left hamstring, but the right hamstring and glute is going to be working. Then scoop the knee underneath you as you roll forward through plank. Take a step through, land the foot inside your hands, lower the hips. Good. Take a breath in and lift. High lunge, fingertips rise. On your breath out, turn sideways, warrior two, extend your arms, relax the shoulders. Nice, well done. Now we're going to aim to keep the legs and hip position as they are. We'll reach forward, breathe in with the right side, flip the palm up, and then lift your right hand up as the left hand lowers, taking a sideways lean over your back leg for reverse warrior. Now think about lifting your right side of your chest and your shoulder, right elbow is high. And you can either look sideways on or up on the inside of your elbow if your balance allows. Good, well done. One more breath here, feeling the stretch through the right side of your body. Before we lift back up, warrior two, long arms, reach forward, reach down, up and over with the left side, pivot on the back toes, and step back into your plank. Good. You can drop to the knees again if you prefer, or stay on your toes and rock forward before you bend your elbows slowly lower, all the way down. Toes release, taking a breath in for your back bend. So think now about bringing the heel of your hand close to your hips, and your hips are squeezing towards the heel of the hand. Then your glutes will probably fire up a little more. Breathing out, we lower down, curling back towards the mat. Tucking the toes again, you've got the option to keep the legs straight this time, so we lift up through a plank or tabletop if you prefer. Then the hips rise, the heels drop, and we're back in downward facing dog. Taking a breath, allow the body to lengthen from the hands up towards the hips down towards the heels, and on your next breath in, it's the left leg that lifts. Up it comes. Pause here for a moment longer. Take a little bend in the left knee, see if you can lift the toes up, but bring your left hip down, right heel lowers. Feeling that yummy stretch on the right side, left side working. Then the knee scoops underneath you, look towards your thumbs, ripple forward through plank, and step it through. Let the hips lower, find your balance. Take a breath in and we'll reach and rise, high lunge. On the out breath, turn to the right, drop your right heel, shoulders over the hips, long arms, pressing out again on the left knee, shoulders are relaxed. And then as you look towards your left fingers, reach forward, breathe in, flip the palm up and lift it. Right hand gently starts to lower. See again if you can keep the legs and hips in that same position. Left side of the chest lifts, the shoulder and elbow lifts, maybe you're looking up, and the right hand is lightly resting hip, thigh or lower leg. One more breath here, and then we'll rise up, warrior two, long arms, reach forward with the left, reach, bring it down, up and over with the right. Pivot onto the back toes, that's it, step back plank, really good. Knees or toes again, you can rock forward as the elbows bend, long line with the body, land it lightly, and push the ground away as you breathe in. Good. Think about broadening your collarbone, so you're drawing your elbows back, your biceps muscles start to come forward, triceps snuggling in towards your ribs. And then breathe out, gently release it down. Good. Tuck the toes, straight knees or bent, your choice. Lift away from the ground, the hips come up, the heels drop back, and we pause. So another chance to take a rest if you need it. Maybe you come to child's pose, maybe you send the hips back, rest the wrists for a moment, give them a little wave, shake them off, have a drink, adjust your clothing if you're feeling a little bit warmer, breathe. We've got one more round of the flow to go. So this time we're going to extend the end specifically, but just change the beginning ever so slightly, so we add a little bit more stretch with this one. There's going to be options available to you, so maybe you make a choice, but if you pick one version on the right hand side, try and repeat it when we come to it on the left. When you're ready, we come downward facing dog again, hips high, heels drop back, hands ahead of you, give the head a little shake so that it hangs loose as you feel the stretch through the back of your body. For the last time on the right side, take a breath in as the right leg lifts, but this time arc your heel back towards your hips as your right knee lifts high and wide and your left heel lowers. So the hips are now opening. We've added a little twist through the body, but as we do that, try and square your shoulders. So send your left shoulder away from your toes and your right shoulder closer towards your base foot. Finally, the knee comes underneath you. Ripple forward through the plank, lift up high and step through. Allow the hips the moment to lower. Good, well done. And then we reach and rise up for high lunge. So breathing in as the fingertips lift. Breathing out as we turn sideways, warrior two. That's it, we were here a moment ago. Nice, long arms. Reach forward, breathe in, flip the palm, lift up with the right, lower with the left, reverse warrior, high elbow, drawing the right shoulder behind you, checking in with the depth that you still have in your front knee. Nice. And up and over, warrior two. Hold here for a second. We're going to turn the right palm up again. Bring your elbow just above your left knee, and then send your left arm in a diagonal line. So this is extended side angle. Now feel like you're pressing your right elbow in towards your knee to lift the shoulder a little higher, and then reach far with your left fingers whilst drawing the chest and shoulder behind you. So a long line from your fingertips all the way through the left side of your body. Now you can stay here, or maybe you lower your right hand, sliding the arm on the inside of your knee, bringing the hips a little lower, the knee bends a little further, still lifting the left shoulder so you feel like you're leaning back, but I promise your right knee is going to keep you in position. Good, well done. And one more option, take your left hand down to the mat. Lift your left heel and then lift your right hand as we turn to face the opposite way. Revolve lunge twist. Long arms, this time it's the right shoulder pulling back, so we've twisted the shoulders, but the hips are square. Breathing in as you reach, breathing out as you lower, and then we're ready from here to step into our plank. Easy peasy. Good, well done. You've got the option this time as you lower down, whether you're on your knees or your toes, to pause, where your elbows brush your ribs, just a little hover, then flip your toes and lift away, so your hips and knees this time off the ground for upward facing dog. You can come back to cobra or even baby cobra if you prefer, as alternatives for you. Good. Last time to come up to downward facing dog. Push into the tops of the feet, lift your hips, flip your toes when you're ready, and sink your heels down. Good, that's generated a little bit of heat, right? All right, one breath here. And then the left leg lifts up and back. Arc the heel back towards your body as you lift your left knee high and wide. Allow the hips to open at the twist. And then send your right shoulder away from your base foot as you look towards your toes. Bring the left knee underneath you. Lift up high, ripple forward through plank. Take a step forward and through. Let the hips lower. Find your breath. Good. Inhale and reach. High lunge first. Fingertips rise. Exhale, turn. Warrior two. Long arms. Relax the shoulders. Send your fingertips left to right. Looking over your left hand, we'll breathe in. Reach. Turn the palm up. Lift it as you lower your right hand into reverse warrior. Looking up if that feels comfortable. Left shoulder pulling back. Left elbow high. Don't forget to breathe. Rise back up. Warrior two. Flip your palm up again as you bring your elbow to your knee. And then create a long line from your right fingertips all the way down the body into your right foot. Press away with the elbow so you lift up and stretch your fingertips a little further, drawing your right shoulder back. So this is your extended side angle. Option here to lower your left hand on the inside of the foot, press your arm against the inside of the knee, stretch a little further, still rolling back the right shoulder, deepening the stretch in the groin and hamstring. And lastly, right hand down, pivot on your back toes, turn your chest towards your bent knee, and lift your left hand for a revolved lunge twist. Good, well done. So now it's the shoulders that have rotated, the hips that are still square. We're still breathing. Gently lower your left hand, shoulders face the mat, step back for plank. Well done. Last time, we'll ripple forwards, knees or toes, as the elbows bend. Option to pause halfway. before you lift into upward facing dog. Wrist drawing towards the hips, hips still towards the wrist, but the hips are off the ground for this version. And then we lift the hips up, roll over the feet when you're ready, drop the heels down, and pause. Now let's hold it here together for 3 breaths, and you can stay perfectly still if you wish, to take the energy out of the wrists, stretch your fingertips forward, take the stretch into your hamstrings. And if you prefer a bit of movement, when you breathe in, lift your heels. When you breathe out, lower them. 2 more breaths, you're nearly there. In your own time, in and out. Fill up and empty. And when you've done those, bring your knees to your mat, send them wide. Untuck your toes, send your hips back. Take a big reach forward, lower your chest, release your wrists. Maybe you take a little rock side to side of the belly between the knees. You can let your head rest on the mat and enjoy a breath, a moment of peace. Hopefully now the body is feeling nice and warm. We've had a little bit of repetition, a little bit of familiarity with the poses, and we're now going to slow things down just a touch, working between poses which give us strength and stretch before the final relaxation at the end. If you haven't had a sip of water, grab one super quick, just to make sure that you're looking after your hydration, and then we'll move on. Okay, we'll start with the forward fold, which is a hamstring stretch. If I turn sideways on, to get there, tuck your toes, lift your hips up, and then you're just going to take a little walk forward, about hip distance apart or narrower with the feet. Let the arms hang loose. If the fingertips don't touch the floor, that's okay. Just send them in that direction. Maybe you cradle your elbows as an option. You're looking towards your knee, so that allows your head to hang really heavy. So all the tension is out of your arms, out of your shoulders, your head and your neck. And if you need to bend your knees, because you will still be stretching your hamstrings even if the knees are bent. Otherwise, if the legs are comfortable being straight, just watch that you're not pressing back on the knee joint. Keep a little bend so you keep tension through the front of the thighs. And lastly, we're going to take the belly button, suck it in and up so you wrap your lower ribs in. So you're almost creating a little hollowing in the lower belly rather than letting it relax. You're keeping the abdominal muscles engaged. From here, we're going to work the muscles a fraction firmer. We're going to take a breath in and flatten our back. Naturally, that means you may rise. And if you come upright a little more, tuck your elbows, lengthen the back of the neck so you're looking down towards the ground. Still again, belly button draws in and up, lower ribs wrapped in. And imagine you're creating as much space from your tailbone to the crown of the head. Sliding your shoulder blades down your back will make the back of the neck feel longer. Good. Still keep a little firmness through the front of the thighs so you're not pressing back on your knee joint. And then we're going to take a big bend in the knees. Send the hips back, start to take the weight through your heels. Come as deep as you comfortably can before lifting your arms ahead of you. This is chair pose. So you should be able to wriggle your toes without it affecting your balance. Watch out that your tailbone isn't drifting back. Send it down towards the ground. It'll feel like you're scooping your tail underneath you. And another option for your arms is perhaps to lift them. Just check that lifting the arms doesn't end up arching your back. You're still drawing your tailbone down towards the ground. Good, well done. Keep breathing. I know this is strong. One more breath in. And on your out breath, hands down, hips up, legs straight and forward fold again. Come back to that heaviness of the head, neck, arms and hands, the straightening and stretch of the legs, and a little bit of tension through the front of the thighs. Sometimes when we come back to a pose, you might find you can naturally deepen a little bit more. That's okay. And if it's not the case, don't worry, you're not doing anything wrong. Hamstrings are quite tight muscles anyway. When you're ready, we'll take a breath in, flatten the back, so lift and lengthen, tuck the elbows, squeeze the shoulder blades down the back, send your tailbone behind you, feel tension through the thighs, glutes and midsection, tucking the chin ever so slightly to lengthen the back of your neck, feeling firmness through the back as well. Good. Then take the weight in the heels, bend the knees again, start to sink the hips down and back, and when you're ready, reach forward for chair pose, or up as an option. Remember, tailbone draws down. Keep breathing. Feel the strength in your legs. You're doing really well. And then we're going to rise up super slow. Send your fingertips up, push the ground away. Imagine you're squeezing your ankles and your knees together. Lengthen your tailbone. Take a breath when you reach high. And exhale. Lower it down. Bring your palms forward in towards your thighs. Take a little lift through the chest. Squeeze front to back. Tailbone lengthens. Mountain pose. And then if your feet aren't together, step them together now so that your big toes are touching. You can keep a little gap between your heels. And then your hands are either going to come fingertips down or thumbs down onto your lower back. There's a flat section to your lower back. So see if you can find it. And then we're going to soften the knees. Squeeze ankles and knees together. Bring the hips forward. Pressing into your hands. Tighten the abdominal muscles. Lift the chin. Lift the chest and take a gentle lean back. So standing back bend. We've had a big forward fold section and now we're doing the opposite. Wouldn't it be interesting if we could fold all the way back like we did forwards? If you need a little more, bend the knees, hips further forward, tighten the glutes. Keep the abdominal muscles engaged, don't forget to breathe. Then you're going to use your super strong core to lift your shoulders above your hips. Coming upright again, long arms, send the fingertips down. Tuck your chin to your chest, look towards your toes, start to roll your shoulders forward, drawing your lower ribs down in towards your belly. Reach, 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 and deepen the knee bend. Not for chair pose, don't worry. I want your belly to rest on your thighs. So take as much knee bend as you need to let your body become supported. Then maybe you wrap your arms around the back of the legs or the back of the knees. Maybe it's lower arms onto your calves, or maybe you're holding onto your ankles. Whatever feels comfortable, that the body is resting on your thighs. And once you're there, let the head hang heavy again. There's no work for the neck. Give a little shake. Keep the squeeze, body to thighs, as you lift your hips. Now naturally your legs will start to straighten. You'll come back to your hamstring stretch, but think that the hips are lifting rather than anything else moving. Keep the body on the thighs, keep squeezing. Yeah, hamstrings will start to stretch again. You've got it. Head hangs heavy. Keep lifting the hips if you can. We're here for 3. Keep breathing. 2. And 1. Deepen the knee bend. Relax out of it. Take your hands to the mat. Keep bending the knees. Sit back, sit back, sit back, sit back until the knees bend fully. And you can place your hands behind you to sit down. Doesn't that feel good? If you need to, you can give the knees a little shake off here. Maybe you wriggle out the back if it's feeling a little bit tight after that last exercise. And then we've just got 2 more exercises to go before we wrap up. We're going to start with boat, working the muscles in the midsection. So wriggle so that your sit bones are firmly into the mat, and then take a big hold behind your knees. So I've got the whole of my hand with my thumb on the outside, fingertips on the inside with a firm grip. Then I'm going to lift up tall, collarbone up, chin up, little lean back, the toes start to lift, and using that firm grip, hover your shins up off the mat. Perfect. If you can, elbows low as the chest lifts. You should feel this is fairly supported, the lower arms on the thighs. You're looking up and over the toes rather than down towards the knees. Imagine your back is firm and flat like a ruler. And then lessen the grip behind your knees to your fingertips only if you can. You'll feel the springy part of your hamstrings on the back of the knee joint. Again, elbows low, chest up, the back is firm and flat like a ruler, looking over your toes. Lastly, if you're feeling brave, release your hands completely, set them alongside your legs. Collarbone up, back firm and flat. Now your lower arms are pressing against the knees, looking over your toes. Keep breathing. 1 more breath, lift a little taller, crown of the head higher, and then slowly let the weight of your toes take you forwards as the feet come to your mat. Give yourself a well-deserved squeeze, hug tight, well done. And then we'll lower onto our mat, onto our back. So reposition so that you're central on your mat, leaving space for your legs, but space for your body. Take your time as you curl down, gently, gently, gently. Once you're here, relax head, neck and shoulders. Maybe you take a little swish side to side of the knees. And then walk your heels so that you can tickle them with your fingertips. So they need to be pretty close towards your hips, or as close as you can comfortably get them. Feet are parallel and hip distance apart, so the knees are bent, lifted to the ceiling with a little gap between the knees. You're going to have your palms by your side before you draw your belly button down and in towards the mat. Feel the lower back firm against the ground. And then with a little tuck of the tailbone, start to push into your heels. Your hips will begin to lift. Arms are by your side if that's comfortable. Hamstrings and glutes starting to work as the hips lift even more. And maybe you take a little shuffle through the shoulders so that your arms are comfortable underneath your body. And when your hips are lifted nice and high, you'll feel firmness through your glutes and firmness through your hamstrings. But just watch that you're not lifting out of your lower ribs. Imagine the ribs are squeezing towards your hips. Maybe the lower back feels like it's flattening a bit more. Abdominals will be a little tighter and the glutes will engage. Good. Make a bit of space for your chin, lift it towards the ceiling so you can still comfortably breathe. Check in that the inner thighs are engaged and the knees haven't drifted apart. See if the hips will lift a little higher with a bit more activation from glutes and hamstrings. We've got one more breath. And then slowly wriggle the shoulders out. Start to roll from the upper back, across the back of the shoulders, back of the ribs. Then the mid-back, keep your tailbone tucked. Lower back, tailbone tucked. Lastly, the hips come down. Good. And we will feel the tension creep out of your torso. Gently swish your knees. Just side to side. Nice and loose, nice and relaxed. Left to right. Good. Well done. And then slowly, slowly, you're going to start to walk your feet away from you. Bit by bit, extending them until they come straight. Now, if you know you're chilly, add a jumper, add a blanket. Make sure that you wrap up warm because this is the final relaxation. And it's much more comfortable if you can hold your body temperature. Perhaps you give your feet a little wriggle and let the weight of the feet turn your ankles and your calves out. So you have a natural parting between the knees and the ankles. You can have your palms by your side, but just give the hips a little wriggle and the shoulders a little wriggle so that they are relaxed and comfortable. And then any tension you have left, let it go. Maybe you take a big breath in and out. And as the lungs and the ribs soften and relax, so you let go of that last bit of tension. If it feels comfortable, you can close your eyes. Maybe you just blink your eyes a little bit narrower, or you can add a sleeve of your jumper or a towel across the top half of your face. So this little time at the end is a relaxation, a reward for the hard work that you've put in for your practice. Moving your body in a way that feels good, in a way that is respectful for any challenges that you have within your system, any tightness or any areas of tension. And then I'll leave you with a really short reading from a lady called Christy Ann Martin. And it's quite timely, especially with how things are in the world right now. So when your world moves too fast and you lose yourself in the chaos, introduce yourself to each color of the sunset. Reacquaint yourself with the earth beneath your feet. Thank the air that surrounds you with every breath you take, and find yourself again in the appreciation of life. And it's that simple thought process, isn't it? When it feels like everything's just moving too fast and you maybe feel like you're lacking a little bit of control, to stop, pause, breathe, and take a look around you and appreciate. Whether it's the sunsets, the earth beneath your feet, the air that you breathe, all of it is a magical gift. And when you take that moment to slow down, a little bit of clarity reappears, your perspective might change, and you might feel that control return. I specifically like the reference to introducing yourself to each color of the sunset. So when the sun sets today, take a look up at the sky, presuming it's not too cloudy, and make note of each of the colors that you see in the sky. And with that, I'll gently call you back with a little bit of movement through your toes, a bit of movement through your fingers. If indeed you want to stay on your mat a moment longer, you are welcome to do that. Perhaps the breathing starts to deepen as the movement becomes a bit bigger. You can squeeze yourself into a tight little ball or take a full body stretch or maybe a gentle twist left to right before slowly and in your own time making your way back up to a seated position. Now if you wish, you can come back to butterfly pose with the knees wide. Perhaps the knees and the hips are now a little bit more relaxed and they sit wider, or if it's better for you, just comfortably cross your legs. This is your time just to gather your thoughts again, sit upright. Allow yourself to sit tall, but rounding the shoulders, back and away from you, grounding back down with the earth. And when you're ready, we'll send our fingertips left to right, turn your palms up, take a breath in, reach. Bring the palms together and slowly breathe out. Pause where the hands find the center of your chest. I'm going to take a lean forward so that I can say thank you from me to you for your company, your attention and your efforts. Give yourself a big thank you and well done as well. You did great. Well done, everybody.